Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to our meeting this evening. Miss Debbie, could you call the roll for us, please?
Mr. Hannigan?
Here.
Mr. Derman?
Here.
Mr. Loop?
Here.
Mr. Harrell? Mr. Nation?
Here.
Mr. Jeter?
Here.
Mrs. Seeley? Mrs. Drucker? Mr. Betancourt?
Here.
Mr. Womack?
Here.
Mr. Hersey?
Here.
Mrs. Mullet?
Present.
Mr. Kuzan?
Here.
Mrs. Belisario? And Mrs. Hines.
Here. Thank you very much. If you'd please stand and join me in the invocation and pledge, please. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us this evening as we gather. We appreciate the opportunity to recognize and support the students and their families that are present with us tonight. We ask that you especially be with the Hersey family in their time of sorrow. We further ask that you be with other school board families who are experiencing difficult times. Please guide us in our decisions we make tonight as we come to do the work of the school system. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome you all to our meeting tonight. April is always a great meeting month because we have a chance to recognize a lot of students here for a lot of different accomplishments, and it's just a fun time to begin wrapping up the school year and see what all is going on this year. So we're glad to have all of you with us this evening. The first item is persons requesting time on the agenda. We did not have anyone sign up for that, so we'll move on to our next item, which is approval of the minutes from the committee as a whole meeting held on March 9th, 2017. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I move.
All right, I have a move by Mr. Jeter and a second by Mr. Loop. Do we have any comments from board members? Any comments from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So ordered. Our next item is instruction. Our first report this evening is the Superintendent Student Advisory Panel, and we have Mr. Fultz to tell us about that new initiative this year.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for the time tonight. A couple years ago, I attended a NUFSET conference in Kansas City, and one of the work sessions had to do with a superintendent's advisory panel. So I signed up for that session, and I went in there, and at that session at NUFSET, I had opportunity to meet with and learn more about a superintendent's advisory panel. Then I followed up with that superintendent, and he kind of shared with me some of the things that he had done, as well as talked to some of you board members who were interested in us forming some type of student advisory committee. So all that kind of came together this school year, and I am so very glad that it did. And it has been a great, enlightening year for me. So tonight I want to tell you a little bit about my student advisory panel, and you're going to get to hear from students from each of the 8 high schools as well. Before we get started, you're going to get to introduce and meet them all individually a little later, but I want to ask all of them just stand up and be recognized first. So if all my students will stand up and be recognized. Next, okay, y'all sit. Next, I want to thank and recognize and honor all the parents of these students that are here tonight. So if you're a parent of one of these students, if you would please stand and be recognized. Thank you for being here. And last but certainly not least, we have the administrators, principals, and assistant principals from the 8 high schools that are here to honor these students and recognize them as well. So administrators, please stand and be recognized. Thank you all for being here. As we mentioned earlier, I think it's vitally important that students have a seat at the table when decisions are being made that impact and affect their education. They are the ones that are in our schools, in our classrooms, so they have a unique perspective that no one else does of what we're doing right and what we can do better. When we started planning, we wanted to make sure each representative from each high school was there and each grade level. So what you see before you tonight is 32 students. 4 students from each of our 8 high schools, 1 freshman, 1 sophomore, 1 junior, and 1 senior from 8 of the high schools. The plan is that you will stay with us for 4 years. So this year, we will pick up 8 new freshmen from the high schools, and all the rest will move up to the next grade level. And that was something that came out of the conversations I had with the other superintendents that had done this. Each year, these students will grow into this position, and we will gather more and more information from them. So this is just the start, the first year, and I will tell you, the principals and the schools did a great job. Part of our plan was to make sure we visited as many schools as possible. For many of our students, the only high school they've been to was their own. So the opportunity for them to visit other high schools was an important part as well. So this was our first meeting at North Shore High School, and this was our gathering together where we met each other. I will say at this meeting, pretty much I did all the talking and everybody else was quiet. After the first meeting, I will say, I couldn't shut them up after that, so it was really awesome. So we got the ball rolling after the first meeting, and then we went from meeting to meeting. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about our agendas and what we did. This is kind of what we set up each time. We would have a discussion of topics. We would set up a question and answer period, and then we would talk about upcoming events. I shared with them all the things that I was doing in our school system, all the events that we had going on. For most of these students, they knew everything that was going on at their high school, but they weren't sure why we did what we did at some of the other schools. So this was an opportunity. And then we kind of gave them some topics for the next meeting so that they could plan ahead. We actually even did a couple homework assignments. One of them was for the book this year for Read for the Record was The Bear Ate Your Sandwich, and I had read that to Folsom Elementary students, so I made each one of them read it. I'll just say that elementary students have a little different perspective on the bear that ate the sandwich than high school students. So it was really interesting to hear their take on that. That meeting took place at October 20th at North Shore High, and this is kind of what we covered on that. Just an overall overview of our school system, our administrators, our central office staff, all the things that go into making up the entire system. Again, they knew about their school, but they didn't really know what we do in our central office. And then we talked about you guys, the 15 school board members, how you set policy, how we work with you, how you work with us, and how at the end of the day, you are the ones that set the policy and expect us to implement it. And then we talked about communication and how important that is, not only to the community, but also as well to the students and to the schools and to the principals. And I will tell you, communication was one that we probably talked about more than anyone throughout all the different meetings that we had. The next meeting was November 17th at Covington High. It was really, really special for me. I had no idea, but they planned, with the help of Ms. Hanson, they planned a little surprise for me for being named Superintendent of the Year. So you can see they gave me a nice plaque that now sits in my office wall, signed by each one of them, and something that I will certainly treasure for the rest of the time that I am here in the school system. So that was a really nice surprise for me. Topics we covered on that meeting were school atmosphere, safety and discipline. I mean, these are the students that are doing it right. It was nice to get their perspective on what we're doing right and what we can do better in discipline and safety. We talked about clubs and activities. Interestingly enough, some of the clubs some schools work really well, at other schools they didn't work well. So we were able to share those activities and clubs and each learn from each other. Another thing that really, really was important to me that grew upon me as we went through these things, the first meeting or so, everybody sat with their own school. But as the meetings moved on, when we would have breaks and we'd have lunch, they were talking to each other at different schools. And to me, that was vitally important, and it gave each of them a new appreciation for their school as well as the other schools. And tonight, I mean, I see students that go to different schools greeting each other and talking to each other, and to me, that's just another add-on component of what we were able to accomplish with this. I will tell you that the communications, I mentioned that to you, it was so much involved that we actually had 2 meetings where we talked about communication. The next meeting was at Lakeshore High School. You can see we had a little Mardi Gras theme going there, and we covered academics. We talked about resources. We talked about where our funding comes from. We talked about how schools are funded. We talked about how clubs and organizations, athletics, extracurriculars funding, and then we talked about support. People outside the classroom that are helping to make a difference. People that many of these students don't see every day, but have a big role in the success of their school and their students. And then on March 13th, we went to my alma mater. I actually showed them some pictures of me from 1977. I told them that was 35 years ago and at least 35 pounds ago. And I had a lot more hair then, so they enjoyed those pictures. And it was a fun time to be at Slido High and talk to them about that. The last thing we did on that day is we made all of them superintendent for a day. And as superintendent, they got to tell me the changes they would make and what they would do to run the school system. So we certainly had a unique perspective from that. So I want you to hear from some of these students. Some of them we're going to represent each school tonight. Some of them are going to speak at the podium. Others are going to be in the video that we're going to show. But I wanted each school to have an opportunity to have someone here. And I think we have all but 3 or 4 students are here. Some of them are doing grad night. Some of them are doing different trips that they're on. So I'm really happy that they're here, and I appreciate them and their family taking the time. So first off, I'm going to bring up Michaela Lee from Slido High, and she's going to share first, and then a couple others, and then we'll come back and show you a video. So, Michaela.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Michaela Lee, and I'm a senior at Slidell High School. As a member of the Superintendent's Board, I would like to say how valuable it is for the students of St. Tammany Parish to have a voice in the direction and future of academia. I hope this program will continue to allow students to have a positive effect on the future of their education, and those involved can also enjoy listing the Superintendent's Student Advisory Panel on their college applications. I know I did. During the Superintendent's Board meetings, a major point of discussion was academics. This topic continues to stay relevant because it's what most directly affects students and their performance in the classroom. As a group, we discussed the importance of staying up to date with our academic material, continuously providing multiple learning outlets, and keeping material interesting for the learner. Managing these topics will continue to motivate and engage students to participate in the classroom. Another topic of discussion was preparation for the future. While not every student is headed down the same path, we all deserve to feel ready for whatever road lies ahead. We're fortunate enough to have internships, dual enrollment, and electives to explore different interests and curiosities that we may have, and because of this, we're better equipped to make important decisions regarding our futures. Personally, I've benefited from my school's teaching academy. Throughout the course of the year, I've learned that kindergartners are still happy to go to school, while 6th graders are much too busy for math when the newest issue of Teen Beat just came out. Lastly, we feel there is a need for life skills and family and consumer science classes, district-wide. Students deserve to feel they will be successful later in life. Offering these courses will only help ensure this for the young adults getting ready to enter a world outside of high school. These classes can offer us simple things such as tips on balancing a household budget, preparing dinner for our future families, and learning how to manage credit. We suggested to Superintendent Foles to provide students with this option. As a group, we feel life skills classes can only better those who participate in this opportunity. On behalf of Slidell High School, thank you for allowing me to speak on this panel.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dylan Otan. I'm a senior at Lakeshore High School. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Foles, Dr. Sanford, Board President Robin Mullet, and the entire school board for giving me this opportunity to talk in front of you all and be able to be in this Superintendent Student Advisory Council for the entire year. It's been a great time. So before being involved in this program, I didn't realize the enormity of St. Tammany Parish with the almost 38,000 students, 6,500 employees, and an annual budget of $450 million. That just blew my mind and just completely shook how I thought about the school system. At Lakeshore High School, we believe that being involved in the various clubs at school and organizations on campus is one of the best means by which a student can increase their academic performance, as well as creating long-lasting relationships with the student body. The staff members at Lakeshore High volunteer their time leading the clubs and organizations to create an at-home environment where students can talk to them about anything and know that their conversations are being taken seriously. In order to better serve these teachers and organizations, as I discussed in previous meetings, is for the district to provide resources available to support some of the smaller organizations in the school. One way to address this is to create a way to communicate within the district to unite different clubs and organizations. Communication is one of the most important topics we have talked about this year and should continue to be a subject of conversation in the future due to how quickly it can evolve. In my opinion, St. Tammany Parish has done an excellent job in the social media circle, with Twitter, Facebook, and the school system app all being great examples. By focusing on communication, students and parents have an increase in awareness of events going on at the schools and should provide for more academic opportunities that support academic excellence. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for providing me with this opportunity to speak in front of you and to give me this opportunity of being on Superintendent Student Advisory Council. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brett Stowe, and I'm a freshman at Fountainblue High School. And what I'd like to start off first is that we brought up a lot of topics this year that were really great. And at my school, we actually did something where we put every single member on broadcast, and what we basically told students at our school, because we can't all four see out of perspective what is going on at our school, we told them to give us ideas to talk about in the meeting. So that gave us a lot bigger perspective about what actually happens in their eyes. And since I'm in ninth grade, that means I'll have 3 more years to go through, and I'm very excited to bring up new topics and discover from my peers about what they see in our school system. What the 2 most popular topics that we brought up was technology and communication, which were very important. I did not know about that and after our meetings. Every meeting we brought up technology and communication, so we learned about how we needed computers to help boost our education. So both these years were very relevant to what we're doing, and next year we're planning to have better ideas for students to learn and get better grades on how they want to learn, not based off of what's only enforced at school. They want to have their own outlook on the world and what they're going to be doing in the future. And lastly, I'd like to thank Mr. Foles for coming out to every meeting and supporting us and for letting us have our say-so on what happens at school.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kelly Jackson, and I'm a senior from North Shore High School. And at our first meeting, Superintendent Foles kind of gave us the rundown on our district, gave us some statistics about it, things like our average ACT score and how many people are employed in the district. And in addition to that, next year we would like a more extensive breakdown, something that kind of shows us more of the business side of our district. So that way we would be able to better comment and advise on more realistic things. For example, kind of how the different departments work and how the chain of command goes down to see what are the daily things that our school board has to go through just to get things done on a daily basis. Now, in addition to that, we would also think it would be beneficial for us to collaborate more with our fellow students. Not just keep it at a one high school level. For example, if say Mandeville High School said something that we thought was important and we wanted to build on that, instead of having to say oh well, Mandeville mentioned a good topic, we'd like to know each other on more of a personal level, get to know each other better. So at least on a first name basis. So that way we could better advise and work together for our whole schools, our entire district school system. Now, in addition to that, we have found that each school has its own unique needs. And with that, we would like to personally address our needs with various administration, whether it be Dr. Sanford or Superintendent Foles, or even our own principals. Because I remember many a car ride home from the meetings, Principal Jabby and I would sit up front and we would discuss the meeting, and he would ask questions and I would answer, and he would explain things to me that I didn't really have that good of an understanding about. And afterwards we would come up with probable solutions. And that was one of my favorite parts, was being able to talk to Principal Jabby about it and say, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think about this? And I just think that's something that we should really try and carve out some time for, because it truly is beneficial. And in conclusion, I would like to say on behalf of North Shore High School's council, I would like to thank Principal Jabbia as well as Superintendent Foles for giving us the opportunity to serve on this council. But not only that, for helping us to focus on the future of our school, our education, and our community. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kaylee Renault, a senior at Pearl River High.
This school year, I, along with other students, have had the honor of serving on the 2016-2017 St. Tammany Superintendent Student Panel. As members of this student committee, we have synergized ideas for enhancing our schools and shared the format of the operation of our schools with the school board. We hope the administration of the St. Tammany Parish School Board have gained valuable information from our ideas that will benefit the school system in the future. Through this experience, student representatives gained a better understanding of what happens behind the scenes of our school system. We expanded our knowledge about how the different rules and policies work and how this affects the way academic standards are established at all levels. Through this experience, I have gained a better understanding of the various high schools within the parish. I've had the opportunity to meet students from across the district, hear their ideas, and learn about how they have made a difference within their schools. The student panel members have had the opportunity to travel across the district to the high schools and visit the campuses of North Shore, Covington, Lakeshore, and Slidell High School. These experiences have taught us how unique and diverse our schools are, and how we all can play a different role, and there's something much larger. As we have brought our unique perspectives together, we've had the opportunity to hopefully make an everlasting difference in this education system. I've only served on this panel for 1 year, but I believe that the current and future panel members will have limitless potential and will come together to make the school system flourish. As student panel members, we have made a difference in our own high schools and in St. Tammany as a whole. We hope that we have started a tradition that will make a positive difference in the lives of students, parents, and teachers in the St. Tammany Parish School System. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Porter Langdon. I am a junior at Mandeville High School, and I would just like to, I thank y'all for letting me be here tonight to talk to you about this amazing panel. At Mandeville, to enter this program, we had to undergo an application process where all of our in-school as well as out-of-school leadership activities were reviewed holistically. It was a great opportunity to participate in this program. It helped me build on my leadership skills as well as my public speaking skills and my college application. It was such an amazing sight seeing the superintendent as well as my administrators listen to what I had to say and not just what they had to say. Each and every one of us on the panel had an opportunity to speak openly and candidly, and as a result, we got to participate in honest and productive discussion. The beauty of this program is that it involved us. We, the students, are the ones most impacted by the school board's decisions. And now, with this program, we get to have a say in how our schools operate. We hope that our feedback can help make a difference in our schools. And above all, I would like to thank our administrators, the school board, and Superintendent Mr. Fultz for giving us the opportunity to participate in this great program. Thank you.
Ooh, you know, one of my sayings is if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. There was a lot of smart people in this room, so give yourself a hand. Brett, Kelly, Kayla, Porter, you did a great job, and I thank you all. I want to thank all of our students for giving us the honest feedback they've done. We learned a lot about what we're doing right, but we also learned about what we can do better. And I know you hear me every time I speak to any group or organization. I end my speech by saying, as many as good things that we have going on, we can always do better. And I truly, truly, honestly believe that this group of students, our initial first ever superintendent advisory panel, have put us in a path that we can do better in everything that we do. And as one of them said, I know we'll continue to grow this, but I will also know that this group will always have a special place in my heart and a special appreciation from our school system for what you contributed. And for that, I thank each and every one of you very, very much. I'm now going to ask Dr. Sanford to come up here. And I don't know if I said this or not, but in each of these meetings, we kicked the administrators out. It was just myself and Regina and what other supervisors. So they would come we let them have lunch with us, and then we kick them out again. And so it was strictly confidential information shared and very, very honest and open conversation. So Regina's going to come up, and we have a little goodie bag for each one of our people, and we're going to ask them to come up. And the little gift that we have for each of them is a cell phone charger, of course. And the box says, "You have the power to make a difference." And so we're proud of them, and they do indeed have the power. So we're going to ask Regina to come up, and we'll call your name, come up, we'll give you a bag, take a quick picture. If your principal can come up real quick and be standing by us, they can jump in the picture too real quick, okay?
Okay. Covington High School, Rosalind Hanson, please come. First student, Kelly Barre.
Tell me what to do again.
Chloe Casnave. Lindsay Jenkins. Joseph Mitchell. Fountainblue High School, Mr. Vetrano, would you join us? Rahula Ashiru.
He was at a track meet, right? Yes. Cleaned up pretty good after that.
Riley Audsley. Olivia Phillips. Brett Stowe. Lakeshore High, Christian Munson. Dylan Otan. Alexandra Boss. Grace Decker. Audrey Womack. Mandeville High, Matt Brown, the assistant principal, please come join us. The Mandeville High seniors are on their senior trip. Savannah Davis. Porter Langdon. Carly Mott. And Elizabeth McLaughlin is on her grad night Disney trip from Mandeville High. Mr. Jabbia, Frank Jabbia, would you join us for North Shore High? Logan Duty. Jordan Fong. Kelly Jackson. Kaylee Smith. And Principal Mike Winkler, would you join us, please? Destiny Anders. Jesse Guiley. Kaylee Renault. And Pearl River High, Sarah Surla is not here. She is on a trip with the Freedom Foundation representing Pearl River High. Next up is Sadia Blackman Stokes, principal of Salmon, and student Carissa Greenlee. Mark LeJean. We have two other members from Salmon High who could not be with us tonight, and those students are Raven Donnell and Vivian Law. From Slidell High, would Principal Billy Percy please join us? And student Timothy Anger. Carson Canulet. Michaela Lee. And lastly, Elise Santiago.
And the last thing, we're going to close with a video that kind of recaps and we hear from the last two schools that we didn't hear from. Again, let me thank all the students, the parents, the administrators for being a part of this special group and this special night. I thank you all and enjoy the video and good luck the rest of the year. I will be seeing 8 of you in your graduations in just a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Superintendent Fols assembled the first ever Superintendent Student Advisory Panel earlier this year at North Shore High School. The panel, consisting of students, freshmen to seniors, from all 8 high schools, meet at a different school every month and get the opportunity to have an open dialogue with Mr. Fols to express their thoughts on a variety of school-related topics.
It's an opportunity to visit with these students, hear what they have to say. They've been honest and forthright with us, and we've been shared with them our good, our challenges as well. So it's a great group of students, and they've helped me a lot this year.
The students, who first had to complete a resume and be chosen by their school, have the opportunity to grow with the panel and become a vital part of a new way to communicate ideas within the school system.
I know it's very important for our school because the students finally really have a voice. Now it's coming directly from our mouths to the superintendent, and I think it has a much stronger effect. And it's also bringing all the schools together.
Good morning, everyone.
Now, several months into the program over at Slidell High, both the students and the principals are beginning to see just how important a student voice can be.
We spend the car rides over here and the car rides back, and I talk to these kids, and the ideas that they have, they're so relevant to what our school system needs to hear, and just kind of keeping everybody on the same page. But it's a big deal for these kids, because then it also makes them feel like they are important too, that their voice is being heard.
To be chosen to do this was really an honor. We help encourage and inspire other people to want to do better and work harder in school, make better grades, try your hardest, and that's pretty important.
And for Mr. Fols, a former high school teacher himself, the panel represents the best and brightest that St. Tammany Parish Public Schools has to offer.
Well, the best part of all my days is when I'm in schools or I'm with students, and this is an opportunity to be with the top of the students that we have in our system. So it's been great for me. I've learned a lot, and I think they've learned from us as well.
Top students with great ideas. The Superintendent Student Advisory Panel is another way that St. Tammany Parish Public Schools are taking steps to educate every child every day. Rhett Sharp, Channel 13.
Thank you all. That was a great presentation with some very articulate students, and we appreciate you coming out to share tonight. Superintendent Foles stated that this idea was shared at the National Federation of Urban and Suburban School Districts. Enough said, as he called it, but I thought you might want to know what that stood for. That's an organization that we belong to that represents school districts that are very similar to ours. So we have an opportunity to send some members to the meetings, and the ideas that are shared are pretty relevant to our school system because these school systems are very similar to our school systems. So we've learned some good things at those conferences, and obviously this was a great one that we learned. Board members, does anyone have a comment they'd like to make? Mr. Derman?
Thank you, Ms. Hines. I just want to say I thought we were having a redistricting meeting or something up here with the schools, as many people as we have. So I'm really happy to see everybody turn out and the parents and the involvement that they have with our school system and along with their students and their children. And we certainly do appreciate all their efforts because, the old saying is it takes a village to raise a child, and we appreciate y'all. And to the students that are on the advisory committee, it helps us educate the kids that are coming behind y'all. So the new ideas that y'all have helps Mr. Folson and his team and us provide a better education for everyone. So certainly do appreciate y'all's commitment to this. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, if no one else would like to comment, then I'll move on to our next agenda item, which is recognition of our foreign exchange students. And we have Dr. Wagner to present that. These are the foreign exchange students that are in our school system this year.
Good evening, board members and Mr. Foles. I'm here tonight to honor and recognize our visitors who chose to explore academics and culture in our country as foreign exchange students. Here in St. Tammany, our foreign exchange student program is 22 years strong. We partner with a number of agencies to promote positive learning and social experiences. During the 2016-17 school year, we hosted 12 students from other countries. Channel 13 has composed a video to capture our visitors in action. Let's watch. Students, as your name is called, please come up to the podium to get a certificate and take an individual photo with Superintendent Fols. Attending Pearl River High School from Germany is Emilia Goiting. Attending North Shore High School from Brazil, Giovanna Genda Nishimura. From Salmon High, we have 3 students who are on senior trip. They'll get their certificates tomorrow. From Sweden, Alexandra Arnstein. From Sweden is Wilma Berg. And from Norway is Marcus Sell. Attending Covington High School from Germany is Raphael Lorenzer. Also from Germany, Levin Steiger. Attending Fontainebleau High School from Sweden, Oscar Ekman. From the Netherlands, Emma van Kopenhagen.
If you can't tell, Emma just finished the tennis match. She heard on her way over here.
From Thailand, Madawan Wongvacharai Paibuan.
How'd you do on the next one? Okay.
Attending Slidell High School from Germany, Tabia Pufugo. And finally, attending Lakeshore High School from Vietnam, An Lee. Thank you. This concludes our foreign exchange recognition.
Thank you, Dr. Wagner. You know, we'd like to thank the host families, and we'd like to ask if they would stand, please.
As well as the parents.
My sister and her husband, Rick and Margaret O'Connell, hosted Levin this year, and we appreciate that they did that. It's the second time they've had a foreign exchange student, and we hope Levin enjoyed his time here in the United States, and Margaret and Rick's hospitality. All right. Anything else, Dr. Wagner? Anything else, board members? Mr. Betancourt.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. I'd just like to congratulate Dr. Wagner for pronouncing all those last names.
She did a great job. All right. Now we'll move on to our next item, which is robotics report. Dr. Wagner, are you going to share what the robotics teams are doing?
Our second recognition shifts focus to 2 very special robotics teams, competing in categories comprised mostly of high school students. Those high school students typically receive programming and coding regularly as part of their curriculum and possess years of previously acquired experience. First, an organization created by Dan Kamen, the inventor of Segway, stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. First has 4 levels: First Lego League Junior, First Lego League, First Tech Challenge, and First Robotics Competition. Dark Matter competes in FTC, which is a game created for grades 7 through 12. Dark Matter is a 12-member 7th and 8th grade team from Mandeville Junior High. This is Dark Matter's second year competing as an FTC team, and the FTC challenge this year is called Velocity Vortex. Coming out of the Louisiana Championship, Dark Matter was ranked second of approximately 3,500 teams. At the end of the South Super Regionals in Athens, Georgia, they were chosen to join an alliance to compete in the division finals. They won the quarterfinals and finished as division finalists. They have won multiple awards, including winning Alliance Captain at all 3 competitions this year. Winning Alliance Captain is the team that picks the other teams to be part of their alliance and then wins in the finals. Team members are Sydney Bray, Brittany England, Sebastian Escobar Mesa, Danielle Garbarino, Arushi Gupta, Ethan Hooter, Logan Livaday, Majid Najdi, Vani Pandian, Matthew Robert, Emma Saunier, and Kurt Warner. Team sponsors are Jonathan Holly and Tracy Martinez. Joining them tonight is Assistant Principal Gina Durapeau. Would the team and sponsors please stand to be recognized? Lake Harbor. Their VEX team, which is named Owlbots, is comprised of 11 and 12-year-olds, 6th grade students. All of these students are first-year VEX students who all participated in First LEGO League last year. This runs 4th through 8th grades. They have competed in both Mississippi and Louisiana. At the Last Chance VRC tournament in Mississippi, they ranked 17 of 31 teams. At the St. Paul's qualifier, they ranked 13 of 25 teams. And at the Louisiana State qualifier, they ranked 9 out of 27th. They made it to the Alliance round 3 out of 5 times. Their team members are Alyssa Petito, Sophia Smith, Zoe Hughes, Daniel Crossland, Taylor Casper, and Drew Weinig. The team received the Excellence Award for middle school, and they also qualified for World Championship in Louisville, Kentucky, where they will compete against 160 teams later this month. Good luck, Owlbots. Their team sponsors are Kalinka Thurber and Brandon Frederick. Joining them tonight are Lake Harbor Principal Miss Susan Patan, coaches, and mentors. Would this team please stand to be recognized? And sponsors. This concludes our recognition.
All right. These robotics teams are amazing to me. I know that they learn a lot during that time, and they put in a lot of hours, and we appreciate that. And I think it's wonderful that there's a place for everyone on the robotics team. Any other board members like to share something? Mr. Nation?
Thank you, Mrs. Hines. Thank you, Dr. Wagner. The other night at Patriots on Parade, which is Mandeville Junior's annual event showcasing all the wonderful things they do, I got to meet, this was after I dissected a frog in my son's science class, but went across the hall and met BB9. So, and Mr. Foles, you said that, you're the smartest, if you're in a room, that you're the smartest person in the room. Well, not only were the kids and the teachers smarter than I was, but the machine on the floor too. So, but anyway, good luck to all of y'all, and we're certainly rooting for you to as you go to the Worlds. That's correct, right? The World Championship. So very good. So look forward to meeting BB9. I mean, I'm hoping BB9 can come to the school board office one of these days, and so very good.
Also, would the parents who have been very supportive of these teams stand as well?
That's right.
Thank you for the Dark Matter for the pin and the bracelet. And Owlbots, I really like that T-shirt. That's very clever. Anyone else?
You'll get one next week.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Our next item is a STEM report, Chevron grant. Dr. Wagner.
Yes, thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the assistance of Mr. Jonathan Hills from Chevron, who's been instrumental in helping us obtain the generous grants from Chevron. Through a generous grant from Chevron, a valued community partnership, we have embarked on 2 initiatives to promote access to STEM instruction and enrichment in our schools. The goal is to get STEM materials in the hands of as many of our students as possible, to spark and nurture an interest in STEM practices and potentially future careers. We focused on the areas of robotics and gifted enrichment. Our first initiative began with a survey of our middle schools and junior high schools to determine which of those had either a club and/or team in place currently at their sites. Those 5 schools which had neither a team nor a club were given introductory level robotics kits for the purpose of beginning a club. Recently, they moved up and received the intermediate level kits. Schools which already had either a club or a team received sustainability funding to help with the operational costs to keep their club or team running. Initiative number 2 is gifted enrichment. While we continued appreciating the support of our Chevron partnership, 11 gifted enrichment teachers recently took part in a professional development to collaborate on creating STEM lessons featuring the new materials. All participating teachers received 4 3D construction kits, a set of Kiva planks, and a classroom cart that will serve as a STEM station, a mobile STEM station. The teachers are very excited and currently are collaborating and co-planning between schools and grade levels. Long-range objectives for the project include developing multi-level STEM lessons that provide continuity for transitioning through grade levels via concept-based instruction, which opens doors to exploration and networking. This opportunity is one that falls upon a 40th anniversary of our gifted program in the district. Thank you to Chevron for your financial support, helping us assure that our kids are future ready. And finally, in a unique science learning opportunity made possible through a grant obtained by Southeastern Louisiana University in partnership with North Shore Technical College, Lakeshore High students engaged in a STEM design experience. The purpose was to isolate and identify sequences found in genetically modified foods. Professor Tara Stulig from SLU visited the campus of Lakeshore High to deliver 2 modules of instruction prior to students visiting North Shore Technical's new STEM campus, where they engaged in the hands-on investigation. The students used isolation techniques to extract DNA from authentic plant material and from genetically modified snack foods. Most snack foods do contain corn, which is a genetically modified plant product. This is something the students learned. Once students isolated the DNA from both groups, they practiced the technique of polymerase chain reaction, which copies the DNA into testable quantities. The students ran gel electrophoresis on their DNA samples, observing them separate through the gels. Once complete, students viewed their DNA samples using a UV transilluminator, which illuminates the DNA fragments. Photographs were made of the samples using a gel camera, and students kept them as souvenirs. Channel 13 was on site and has composed a video that captures the learning experience. Let's watch.
Our thermal cycler is cycling temperatures really high and then lower. And then
Students
really
from
high
Lakeshore
and then
High
lower.
School began a journey of exploration about genetics with a professor from Southeastern in a brand new science lab at North Shore Technical Community College with the Connect to Success program.
This is a STEM partnership program between Southeastern, North Shore Technical Community College, and multiple high schools. We are aiming to expose students to a variety of STEM disciplines connected mainly to genetics.
Like any respectable scientist will tell you, the lab time is only as good as the preparation. The high school seniors spent 2 days in the classroom at Lakeshore preparing with help from students from both Southeastern and NTCC.
It's different than high schools, I'd say, because it's more lecture-oriented, and then the practical part's the really cool part, where you get to see whether or not your snack food is genetically modified in the lab, so it's definitely interesting.
The students learned about GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, that affect a lot of the food that we eat.
It's really cool getting the lab experience because I know in college I'm going to be in labs a lot, majoring in like chemistry or biology, so it's definitely gaining my knowledge with all of this.
As genetic research continues to grow, the new partnership hopes to allow the high school scientists to gain exposure to concepts that prepare them for the future and maybe even a career.
They're going to be high demand job fields, so I think it's extremely important to expose students to things like this, give them some hands-on experience. We're using lab tools that would be used in almost any molecular biology lab with a company or at an academic institution that would do molecular genetics analysis.
Hands-on experience in the lab is where the new program stands out.
They've been very enthusiastic. They've loved this hands-on application.
An awesome way to connect with our local colleges and universities and succeed at building bright scientific futures for our students. Rhett Sharp, Channel 13.
Present tonight is Lakeshore High's principal, Mr. Christian Munson. He's joined us. He was here. Okay, that concludes the STEM report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wagner. You know, Chevron has been a fantastic partner with our school system. They've done a lot for us in the past, and we really appreciate their continuing support with the STEM, the amount of equipment we can buy for this STEM education has been wonderful. And what a great opportunity to partner with Southeastern and North Shore Technical Community College, two other great partners. Any other comments from board members?
Yeah.
Mr. Nation?
Thank you, Mrs. Hines, and thank you again, Dr. Wagner, and thank you to Chevron for the great work they were doing. That report about Chevron reminded me, and I would be remiss if I didn't make a plug for these good folks sitting out here from Mandeville Junior. They need to raise about, $10,000, is that right, to go to Houston for the World Championship. So any support that the folks in the public listening tonight, or listening in the future can help. I know anything would be greatly appreciated. So, and I'll be providing my support as well. So, thank you, Mr. Holly.
I think we have several robotics teams that are raising funds to go to the national.
Champions.
All right. Great meeting tonight. I told you at the beginning we'd have lots of good things to hear about that are happening in our school system, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing those things. If there's no further business, I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here this evening.
The April 6th Committee as a whole for Business Affairs Administrative Committee meeting is called to order. Mrs. Campbell, will you call the roll?
Mr. Nation.
Here.
Mr. Hennigan. Mrs. Hines. Mr. Derman.
Here.
Mr. Luke. Here. Mr. Harrell. Mr. Jeter.
Here.
Mrs. Seeley. Mrs. Strucker.
Here.
Mr. Betancourt.
Here.
Mr. Womack. Here. Mr. Hersey.
Here.
Mrs. Mullet. Mr. Kuzan.
Here.
And Mrs. Belisario.
Thank you. We'll dispense with the invocation and pledge as it was said at the previous committee meeting. There were no persons requesting time on the agenda, so we'll move to approval of the minutes for the committee as a whole meeting held March 9th, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second? Motion by Mrs. Drucker and second by Mr. Loop. Any comments or questions about the minutes? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 5 is from Mr. Jabbia.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. We'd like to recommend an authorization for Superintendent Foltz and our Board President Mullet to purchase the property located on 221 Stone Road, Slaughter, Louisiana. I put a memo in your packet along with some information about the building. We're in dire need of storage space for our maintenance department. There's a lot of items that we keep on hand that in the long run saves the school board money. A lot of stuff that was donated when Salmon High School was rebuilt from FEMA. There was a lot of PTAC units, that's the air conditioning units. It's a lot of other different type of equipment. There's also agencies throughout this state that sometimes want to donate their furniture or whatever it may be. We're in a position now to get some very good equipment from an agency, but we have no place to store it. This facility is located right next door to our Slidell Support Facility. The property joins. So by having this, it just makes it so convenient, I guess, to have kind of a central place for a lot of our equipment that we store and keep on hand if something goes out, if a pump goes out, rather than have to go out and have to order one, wait 2 or 3 days before it comes in. We have those on hand, but we need place to store it. So we're asking for your support in this recommendation. The two appraisals, as you see, 286 and 300,000 with an average of 293,000. We tried to buy, our policy says the average of 2 appraisals, and if we need to, we can go up to 5% over the average. The owners did not want to sell this property at the average. We told them we would not go above the highest appraisal, so that's why we're stuck at 300. That's what we're asking tonight. We could have gone to 307, 650 by the board policy, but we did not want to go above the highest appraisal. So we ask your support in this purchase of this property.
Is there a motion to that effect? Mr. Hersey? Mr. Hersey moves. There a second? Second. Mrs. Mullet seconds. Any questions or comments from board members? Okay, Mrs. Drucker.
What's the square footage of the building?
It's about 6,500 square feet. It's got some that's air conditioned. So we got some, if we need something for climate control, we can use it for that. The unique part about this building is there is a tremendous amount of property there, so we can easily expand. It's a metal building, and we can easily expand, add on to it. I think it's kind of like the perfect piece of property for us.
And what's the lot size? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know the lot size off the top of my head. It's in my appraisal information, but I don't know that offhand. But it does join our other property, so it has a loading ramp also that, the one that kind of goes down low where you can unload stuff. So it has that already built in.
Thank you, Pete.
Very good. Thank you, Mrs. Drucker. Mr. Betancourt.
Thank you. For that loading ramp area, is there a sump pump or whatever connected to that? Because
Yes,
it looks
sir.
like there's water in there right now, according to this picture.
I think that's just a shadow you see there because we visited the property. There is a sump pump in it though.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Betancourt. Anyone else? Not seeing anything. Any comments from the public? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Mr. Jabby. Moving on now to item 6.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that recommendation. We recommend acceptance of the district handbook for students and parents for the 2017-18 school year. There should be a memo in your packet that committee met and they had no changes to our handbook for this coming school year.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect? Mr. Jeter moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Drucker seconds. Any questions or comments from board members? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Mr. Jabbia, number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. Consideration of school board policies, section B and C. Those are in your packet. The changes that we discussed at our working group were incorporated into the policies that you have in front of you, and we're asking for your consideration of acceptance of policies B and C, or section B and C.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jabbia. Is there a motion to that effect? All right. Motion by Mr. Derman, second by Mr. Loop. The floor is now open for any questions or comments by board members. And we'll use our queue tonight, electronic queue.
Derman and Loop, right?
Yeah, Derman, yes, Mr. Derman and Mr. Loop.
Thank
Okay. All right. Well, not seeing any. All right, I will assume okay, Mrs. Hines.
I just would like to say that it's nice to go from this to this, with the changes. So thank you all for your time and effort in putting those together and answering questions we might have had.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Hines. Anyone else? Okay. All right, not seeing any. Is there any questions or comments from the public? Not seeing any there either. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jabia.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, moving on to item 8. Having to get my Roman numerals here. Make sure.
Yes, the monthly maintenance and custodial report was sent to you electronic. Mr. Singletary and his staff is here if you have any questions.
All right, any questions for Mr. Singletary? Okay, not seeing any. We'll move on to item B.
Monthly risk management report is in your packet. Mr. Gaspard is here if you have any questions.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Gaspard? Okay, moving on to item C.
And the monthly transportation report is in your packet. Mr. Alfonso is here and his staff if you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Alfonso? All right, not seeing any there. Thank you, Mr. Javia.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, moving on to construction. Ms. Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. Our first item is consideration of bids for Alton Elementary School parking lot, STPSB project number P0139. You should have a memo in your packet indicating that we received these bids on March the 22nd, and we are recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Leon Low & Sons Incorporated in the amount of $207,483 for the construction of a parking lot at Alton Elementary School, STPSB project number P0139.
Okay. All right. Motion by Mr. Kuzan, second by President Mullet. Any discussion or questions or comments by board members? Okay, not seeing any. Is there any by the public? Not seeing any there either. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, item 2, Ms. Tipton.
Yes, sir. Consideration of bids for Lyon Elementary School gymnasium and 200-wing roof recoating. We received bids for this project on March 22nd also, and we are recommending acceptance of the low base bid submitted by Fishers Incorporated in the amount of $89,900 for the gymnasium and library roof, for the gymnasium and 200-wing roof recoating, STPSB project number R0010.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Derman with second by Mr. Loop. Any questions, comments, or discussion by board members? All right, Mr. Hennigan.
Yes, just a quick question on these roof recoating jobs. Is there standard testing we do to make sure that the coating's done properly?
The manufacturer for those coatings, they have requirements that are in our specifications, and they do a small test area, and they do proper priming prior to putting down the coating and giving a warranty for them.
And we get a warranty. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hennigan. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing any here. Anything from the public? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item 3.
Yes, sir. This item is consideration of quotes for Florida Avenue Elementary School gymnasium repairs. We received these quotes on April the 5th, 2017, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base quote submitted by Steel R Development, LLC, in the amount of $129,390 for the gymnasium repairs at Florida Avenue Elementary School, STPSB project number P0132.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Kuzan, second by Mr. Hersey. Any questions, comments, or discussion by board members? Mr. Derman?
Ms. Tipton, and just looking at those two bids, I mean, there's almost 50% difference or 100% difference, whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, they're almost double.
Yes, sir.
Is the
This
Is the bid accurate, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask?
Yes, this is very close to the estimate that the architect provided to us of $120,000. And I think it does, you can see the number of companies that looked at it. It is some work that just takes some time and effort to get in and do. It has to do with some termite repair.
Yeah, I see a bunch of them looked at it, but not that many of them quoted it. That's what led me to look at that as well. So, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Derman. Anyone else? All right. Anything from the public? Not seeing anything there. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item 4.
Yes, sir. This is consideration of quotes for Bayou Woods Elementary addition, metal roof coating and gutters. And we opened these quotes on April 4th as well, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base quote submitted by Certified Roofing and Sheet Metal LLC in the amount of $64,140 for the metal roof coating and gutters at Bayou Woods Elementary School, STPSB project number R0017.
So moved. Mr. Womack moves in a second. Mr. Hersey seconds the motion. Any discussion or questions by board members? All right, Mrs. Drucker.
Ms. Tipton, I want to ask you, for the metal roof coating, what are we coating? I mean, like, what part of the school?
At Bayou Woods, that main school building has an addition that was added on. I don't know the exact date of that, but the roof was leaking, so it is a metal roof that instead of replacing it, we're going with this roof recoating that also gives us a warranty for weather tightness.
For how long?
For 15 years.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Drucker. Anyone else? Okay. Anything from the public? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. And item 5.
Yes, sir. This is consideration of quotes for William Pitcher Junior High School choir building roof replacement. We received these quotes on April 5th, and we're recommending acceptance of the low base quotes submitted by iBoss Roofing Company Incorporated in the amount of $53,825 for the choir building roof replacement at William Pitcher Junior High School, STPSB project number R0016. And you may relate to this building as being the old school board meeting building, and this also will include some exterior painting.
All right, very good. Motion by Mrs. Heinz, second by Mr. Derman. Any questions or comments from board members? Any questions or comments from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, item B.
I have a short monthly construction report. At Lancaster Elementary School, the glazed tile in the hallway is being installed. Exterior masonry and metal panels are nearing completion, and work to establish the HVAC system is being coordinated. At Mayfield Elementary, the masonry is nearing completion. Window frames are being installed. Roofing is progressing. Electrical rough-in is progressing, and exterior plaster work has started. The tie-in to the existing school has been accomplished also. Work with many trades continues to progress at Fontainebleau Junior High, including roofing, interior sheetrock, exterior masonry, window installation, and electrical and data wiring. The steel structure for the new interior mall hallway at Pearl River High School has been erected, and the roof deck is being installed. Interior walls in the administration and library have been installed, and interior demolition work in the gym locker rooms is progressing. The Abney Elementary Library renovation project is progressing, with interior stud walls being installed and electrical rough-in starting. The contractor is planning for floor installation in the 200 wing at Mandeville Junior High. The new windows are a long lead item, and the contractor has temporarily enclosed and waterproofed those openings so they can continue with finishes. At Clearwood Junior High, the renovation of the 300 wing Interior demolition work is complete. Roofing work at Carolyn Park Cafeteria renovation is progressing. Storefront material is being installed in the window and door openings, and the HVAC ductwork is being roughed in. The temporary portable classrooms located in the parking lot at North Shore High are scheduled to be removed during spring break. A pre-construction meeting was held for the modular classroom project for Madisonville Elementary, and the contractor is working on the shop drawings for those buildings. Pre-construction meetings for the Slidell High renovations project were held recently, and the contractor is mobilizing on site next week and over spring break. Next week, pre-construction meetings are scheduled for the pupil appraisal building project and for the Mandeville High practice field and limestone parking lot. Advertisements for bid will start printing next week for the project to move modular classroom buildings and provide for walkways and infrastructure for Mandeville High, and for the re-roofing project for Bayou Lacombe Middle Gymnasium.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tipton. Any questions or comments for Ms. Tipton?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Betancourt and then Mr. Womack.
Good evening, Ms. Tipton. In Fontainebleau Junior High, it looks like with the, all the changes, we're a few $100,000 more than the original. Are we still like within our budget for that
Yes,
thing?
sir, we are.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Betancourt. Mr. Womack.
Cameron, I wanted to tell you that I've been to each of the schools in my district this week, and I was real pleased the way things are moving along. You all are doing a great job in all three schools. I was absolutely elated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Womack. Anyone else? All right. Thank you as always, Ms. Tipton.
Thank you.
All right, now we move on to business affairs. Mrs. Prevost.
The monthly purchasing report is in your packets, and Ms. Stevens is here to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Stevens? All right, not seeing any, we'll move on now to announcements from the president. Mrs. Mullet.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. There will be a special board meeting immediately following this meeting for an expulsion appeal. And there will be a reception at 6:15 prior to the board meeting on Thursday, April 13th, that's next week, at the Brooks Educational Complex. We will be honoring 2016-2017 Students of the Year, Support Employee of the Year, and Substitutes of the Year. And then the board meeting will follow that reception at 7 p.m. Also, we would like to thank several schools for the beautiful artwork in the atrium this month. We have art from second and third graders from Covington Elementary, and their teacher is Ms. Christy Becknell. And we also have artwork from Clearwood Junior High, Mayfield Elementary, and Riverside, and their teacher is Mr. Ben Netterville. So we'd love for everyone to just go and look at the beautiful artwork. And those are the announcements.
All right. Can you adjourn? Motion to adjourn?
All right. Not hearing anything, I declare this meeting adjourned. All right.
Very good.